Here is the lore of my first sim that found reality shifting. This is a prequel to the My Sim is a Reality Shifter video. He is the one who started it all. The origin of the anti-villain. Justin was a 18-year-old that was a only child in his family. He lived with his mom and his dad. His dad was never really the best dad, and his mom wasn't really the best mom. Dad constantly verbally abused him and called him a loser, and his mother would be overly critical of his dreams, which was to be an entertainer. Justin eventually snapped and rebelled against his parents. He was instigating arguments every single day, and understandably so, to where it got so bad that his parents kicked him out. They've threatened to do it so many times in the past, but this time they actually did it. He then moved to Willow Creek. He just bought his own small house with whatever money his parents threw at him before he was forced out. Justin was a very cocky and egotistical kid. He was constantly being a condescending douchebag to people in his neighborhood. He would insult people straight to their face and be Mr. Mischief. He was a pathological liar and even was so rude to an elderly man named Dennis Lewis. With only he was a elderly man that only had a few days to live. Man, that was just horrible. At the same time, though, knowing his backstory and how he was brought up and how he wasn't raised right, we can understand why he's like this. Not the justification, just the reason. Now Justin had to find a way that he was gonna support himself. So he did some job searching. His first job was a fast food worker, but his first job was a fast food worker, but that didn't last long. Then he became a babysitter, construction worker. He bounced from job to job because he didn't like them, but had to pay the bills given he struggled to make ends meet. During his free time, though, he once again took a visit around the neighborhood and visited one household, the BFF household, with three best friends: Travis, Travis Scott, Liberty Lee, Summer Holiday, and Trace Holiday. For years, Travis Scott has had a crush on Summer Holiday, and in fact, he was the one that took Summer and her little brother Trace in when they had no place to stay. All was good until the new kid on the block, Justin, came around. Justin got along with everyone from the BFF household, except Travis. He saw how well Justin was getting along with Summer and couldn't help but feel jealous and envious. From there on out, he and Summer would keep in contact. Summer even came a lot of days to visit him and hang out at Justin's place. She didn't seem to mind the limited space as long as she was with him. They seemed to really hit it off. At first, Summer always rejected him romantically, so unlike Travis's distorted thought, she was playing hard to get, so they stayed friends. She didn't like him, especially because she was already a sophomore in college and he was still a senior in high school. So she told herself she could never fall for him because of quote unquote school being the number one priority in her life. That would eventually that would not age well, as the more time they spent together, eventually Summer couldn't deny her love for him. The heart wanted what it wanted. Justin would visit Summer every day, going against Travis's wishes at the BFF household, and Summer would visit him. They would even go on dates and not call them dates. hmm They would go to the park together. They would go to bars together, the gym, and go to lounges together. After Justin graduated high school, he and Summer ended up officially getting together, and they became a couple. Then Justin and Summer had to find out what's next for them. They decided in order to make a new future for them, it's best if they leave their current neighborhood and completely get a fresh start and buy their own house in a new neighborhood. They looked around and found a mansion they could settle in. It was still in Willow Creek because at the end of the day, they didn't want to leave home, so it's alright. But here's the thing, the price of the mansion was so fucking expensive, but Justin thought he could make it work by paying the rent instead of just buying it up front. So it looks like it was gonna be a rough ride, but they seemed like they were ready. Once Summer broke the news to Travis, Liberty, and Trace, Liberty and Trace were happy for her and wished her the best. Summer told them they can visit anytime. Travis, on the other hand, wasn't too happy. He was shouting and yelling at Justin for taking everything he's ever wanted. Justin told him to put in the work and stop crying about it, and these two kept cursing each other out. They even got into an actual fist fight with 6 rounds, and Justin ended up beating Travis. He ended up beating Travis up, with the score being 4-2 in Justin's favor. They became enemies forever. Everyone watched and cheered for Justin to win the fight. After that, that's when Justin and Summer moved into their new mansion. That's also the same day when Liberty turned on Justin, because she was on Travis's side, but still ended up supporting Summer because that's her best friend. So Justin and Summer moved into their new mansion, but on the exact same day, they did. Turns out, Justin had received $2 million. He stole it from the bank. At the time, his career occupation was a criminal. He was so happy, and so was Summer, because now they are gonna be okay forever. They can pay off the house and live peacefully. People even tried welcoming them to the neighborhood, but every time Justin and Summer get invited to people's houses, they would woohoo on people's beds, which would get them kicked out immediately. Things went from really bad to really good real quick for Justin. He was even good enough to quit his criminal career, but that doesn't mean his rebellious and notorious attitude was over. It was the little things, like that time when he hired a piano player for his house. The worker slacked off, yes, which resorted in Justin cussing him out a lot several times, and even fist fighting him on several occasions, which he ended up winning the fights, by the way. The piano's player name was Josiah. He eventually fired that piano player and started to learn how to play piano himself. The drama was never over. Oh my god, because it's a brand new mansion. To celebrate, Justin and Summer ended up woohooing in their new bedroom several nights straight. Until one day, someone broke into their house and watched them do it in the bedroom. He chased that intruder. He chased that intruder out, but at the same time, he could have locked his doors, which is a realization he has now gained. The daily drama made life stressful, yes, but also very fun. Things were looking up for him. He had money, a loving partner, and his health, since he loves fitness. One day, Justin and Summer found out the best news of their life. They were pregnant. Summer Holiday eventually gave birth to a baby boy named Vince Holiday. When Vince came into the picture, it was the best thing ever. Justin and Summer were showering love to their new baby. Would this mean Justin and Summer's life would become less about them? According to Justin, of course not. He hired a nanny named Jeffrey, who took care of Vince while they were gone, which was a lot of times. Justin and Summer continued to have their puppy love and quality time together. He even calls in Jeffrey very late at night and at the random times, given he made Jeffrey sign a contract that if he was going to accept the job, he'd be available 24/7. But he was paid very good money to do so, which means Justin nor Summer had to do a lot of the work. But even then, Jeffrey didn't mind, and he even became a close friend of theirs too. But once Vince became a toddler and there was times where Jeffrey couldn't be available, Justin and Summer got a taste of what real parenting is like and appreciate how hard Jeffrey actually works. Once Vince became an actual child, that's when they didn't really need Jeffrey much anymore. Vince would go on to have a normal childhood and be close with his parents, but Jeffrey still came by to visit as a friend and not as a employee. Really sweet guy, by the way. He would come to multiple parties that Justin would throw in his mansion as well. Liberty and Trace also came, but never did the bitter Travis Scott. Travis continued to hold a grudge against Justin, but most of all, Summer, he held a grudge against Summer the most, which resulted in him kicking her brother Trace out. This was right after he found out Justin moved his family to a even bigger and aesthetic mansion and started his own city in Newcrest. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for Travis. Justin would reach out to Trace and told him not to worry and that he can stay with him in summer until he gets on his feet. Trace would temporarily join the household. The short time of having him there was a blast. He would go to family events with them and even bonded with Vince, aka his nephew. It was so heartwarming to see. Man, he was a good uncle and still is a good uncle. Eventually, Justin built a new home for Trace to live in, and Justin and Summer hugged him goodbye one day, as Justin tells him to go make a life for himself since he's now grown up. Can he still visit anytime? Of course he can. Not too long after that, he became an uncle again, because Justin and Summer welcomed another child, which was a baby girl this time. Her name was Lacey, and Vince at first was upset, thinking he wasn't going to get all the attention anymore, and was jealous when he saw one of his parents holding her. But the more Lacey was around, the more he started to eventually warm up to her, and he actually enjoyed having a little sister. They even grew up close after that. Both went to school together and everything. Both kids are scared of monsters and often wake up their parents to quote unquote spray the monsters under their bed. Fast forward years later, the family continues to live a good life. Everyone Justin and Summer were friends with are still good with them to this day. But despite all of that, the people that hated them still hate them to this day. Those people are Travis and Liberty, but mainly Travis. Travis to this day is still bitter. Justin would, after quitting his criminal career, would write stories about how he manifested his dream life, which shifted his reality. No pun intended. Vince and Lacey are adults. Justin and Summer's marriage is still going strong to this day. Then a few years down the line, he ended up helping his variant in the multiverse, who lost his wife, shift to his desired reality, where that death was revised and didn't happen. The end.